Welcome back to Pulling the Plug. I'm your host, Tatienda Kambeo, and I'm also joined today by Tonderai Maposa, my co-host. Now, from earlier discussions on the show with the youths who are seated here, we had a discussion on, what exactly is causing people to start taking drugs and substances. And one of the key aspects that came out of this discussion is on parenting, right? The youth are pleading with parents, with guardians. They are saying that the parents are playing a huge role when it comes to, controlling and making sure that the youths and the young ones are not taking drugs. And so today, we are here to dissect this and see what exactly it is we are saying and what we're getting out of this discussion. So welcome back once again. And to kick us off, generally, what do we think is the role of a parent for an adolescent or someone between 16 and 30 years? What exactly is the role of a parent?
Thank you so much. As a parent myself, the role of a parent is to love our kids, protect them, and make sure that there's no harm that comes to our kids. I hope I answered you well there.
Well, I also think the parents should also give us a guideline, not telling us what to do, but give us the disadvantages and the advantages of certain things, just giving and showing us a path and a proper way to go.
Yeah, I also think that parents should bond with the children. Bonding is very important because you find good at least like Baba. I know in Dagobasa Monday to Friday. On Saturday and Sunday, Baba monitor hang out with the boys. But Unevana maybe 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. I know that bonding time, you go out there, you go to places, you talk about it, you bring up my topics. Drugs or my beers at this age, I should make a sense, bringing up my topics because my part that, time you bond with your kids. So bonding is very essential.
I think the roles of a parent in a child's life, they're supposed to, for me, as a Christian, I think they're supposed to play like the godly role in a child's life. You're supposed to guide a child, talk to them, teach them, be their role model. Let them see life through you and live a life that you want your kids to live. Yes. That's what I think.
Okay. These are insightful contributions. But I want to go back to what our parents shared here. You mentioned that one role for parents is to protect, Anditka, to protect their child. But we can see that up to a certain age, kids start to feel like, I think I can handle things on my own. I don't need my parents to keep saying, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't go there, don't. So, how then do you protect a child when they reach that stage where they're saying, no, imimi mama, I think this is where, imima gumira pano. How do you then protect a child at that stage?
I think in on that stage zvakuenderana nebehavior yemubereki, because you can't say, like, for example, you can't say iwewe usapute mbanje kana kuti usaite zvemadrugs iwe mubereki uchiita, because mwana anoita zvaari kuona mubereki wake achiita. Saka how to protect these kids is to lead by example. Because ndingati no zvemadrugs zvakaipa usaite zvemadrugs, iye mwana achikuona uchiita zvemadrugs. Saka it be very hard kuti mwana accept kuti zvandaudzwa namai izvi kana zvandaudzwa nababa izvi ndizvozvo, iye achikuona uchizviita. I think.
Thank you very much for that question. I also want to just put in a little bit into what I think parents need to start doing. And Walter mentioned it spot on. We're speaking about behavior modeling. You see, when you are in a house, I've got a niece who sees the lady that helps sweeping, and she's only 2. You see her sweeping as well. when it comes before she's even been taught. So children will generally do what they see their parents do. And another role that I believe parents need, I take this from my own personal experience, is more time with the children, more one-on-one time. My father was always away, and he says it himself, fundraising for the school, and that left a lot of gaps which needed to be filled. Parents need more and more to spend time with their children. Parents also need to start learning more about drugs, watching shows like this one here that help them to see the telltale signs about a child that is getting into bad behavior. So parents' role has become increasingly more important now, because children are spending a lot of time with their peers, and parents need to be on the lookout for such behavior. I think that's one of the roles I would really like to see the parents taking up a bit more, and being more involved in the children's and youth's lives.
Okay, from my end, what I would say is I agree with the last speaker. The other issue concerning the issues of parenting, there's a gap that has been formulated by the way of living that we are doing nowadays, which is now, as a result, it's requiring more from the parents. Duties that would, in our culture, would say anatete, anasekuru, right? Used to come in and educate vazukuru kunze mwana akata mosha akanetsa indaina kwatete nganonzwa nganotsurwa nganorera nechi. But nowadays, because of the way that we're now living, vana vachaenda kuna tete vava nechi, at the same time vabereki, no one is then come in to educate them to say, now those roles are now your roles by default because of the changes that has happened. You'll find out, Kuti, I've been in certain places where you deal with adolescents, and they say, we want to talk to our parents concerning issues of, let's say, sexuality. Ndrukukura, and I'm developing, I have questions. Mama, I want to talk to about these issues. The parents are not keen in discussing those issues with their kids because varukuti vabereki. So varukuti mwana angandi kuti zvakadai so you find out kuti some of those issues now cascading down kuma issues ema drugs abuse and everything kuti vana avachakwanisa kutaura nabereki wavo because number one chinhu chagara chinotongonetsa kuti mwana ataura nabereki about issues ema drugs. So vabereki now they need to up their game, educate themselves, be acquainted with the changes that has happened, and also accustom yourselves as parents so chichirikuitika nowadays that you can then be in a position to discuss these issues. Because if you look at it nowadays, if you want to talk about sex kovana or drugs kovana or anything chiri related kovari, you might be surprised because they stand a better chance of informing you as a parent about those issues than you teaching them, because they now know more. So as a result, vabereki ngati acquainted, let's upgrade ourselves, let's be more informed about this so that we can be in a position of assisting and help these children. Thank you.
Just to add on what my brother said here, I also think flexibility. You know, mbereki wangodzamara wada kuomesera mwana zvinogona kudhakwa. Why? Pane mwana yokuti pakumba kwavo anenge achinzi atidi mwana anofika matrials pano. Okay, fine, yes, because anenge ari mafamily rules, ndo zvazviri, it's a family culture. But kunzo kumwa achifarira kuona vamwe vakapfeka matrials. Handiti saka mwana achabuda panze, wasvika pakona paipo ochinja dress rake opfeka matrials oenda kwaari kuenda. So I also think flexibility yakakosha kuti mwana haafaniri kutya kuti ndoudze here mama kuti izvi zvakadai ndo zviri kuitika. Ndoudze here dhedhi kuti sekuru panoya panapa vanoenda kuseri kuvotanga kumonera weed. Ndovaudza here. Kana mubereki wakadzamara wakangoomarara usingakwanisi kupa that space for your kid to come and open up to you, it's going to be difficult. So flexibility, I just think kuti mubereki ka softaina kuti vana vanzwi kuti no, I can talk to this nadidi, I can talk to this na mama.
I want to take us back to the previous episode where Ropa mentions going into a home and the mom had called her to come and make an intervention. Ropa, my child is getting into this, my child is getting into that. And then the child says, anditi mama ndimi muri kugara muchiunza varume vakasiyana siyana panapa. Tibatsireiwo isusu sema youth kuti tikwanise kutsiurawo vabereki. Vabereki vedu vanotsiurika here. I know coming from my own home, telling my own papa something, zvinotogona kutoita zvipakira. Vanotsiurika sei vabereki kana vari kumodela behavior isiriyo? I don't know if this is a question for this panel, but vabereki munotsiurika sei?
As a parent myself, the way I'm listening to you guys saying, it's you are posing a question saying, are we as parents to blame in whatever it is that you guys are doing? I want to take, for example, in my situation. I'm a single widowed woman. I'm a present but absent parent. As I'm absent, it doesn't mean I'm absent because I want it to be like that. Ndinema situations ari kuita kuti ndive an absent parent. As I am now, vana vangu, we are miles apart. They are far away, vari kuBotswana. I don't even know what is happening to them. I don't even know what they ate today in the morning. And I'm here in Zimbabwe. I'm hustling for my kids. I have to make sure that I make something for them. I have to make sure that I make $1 every day for me to make sure that I have something that they will have and save money for them. And then now, if I can get a call, and then they call me that, Fortune, your son Mahulo is now he is taken to prison. Hansi, he was taking drugs with other kids at school. He was taking drugs there. So I want to pose a question to you guys. Am I to blame? Am I to blame as a parent if I can ever hear that one of my kids now is taking drugs? Pane zvakaipa zvandaita here as a parent. Can you please reply that to me?
I'll answer you not in a diplomatic way, but to address your question. I think there's repercussions for everything. You are doing the right thing for providing for your family, but at the same time, your absence, it will never go unnoticed. Because there are things that will affect your kids because you are not present. As much as you are providing for them. I remember Mr. T, he said he also gave a statement that his father was not available, though he was providing, but there is a gap that money can never fill from a child's perspective and a point of view. Even you will be shocked to hear that your kid has been arrested for sinister things, right? But you are here, you're working. But those things now, money can only do to a certain extent. There are things that your money cannot do for your kids. Your money cannot advise your kids to do the right thing. If not, that money can actually perpetuate some of the bad behaviors that will then emanate from the presence of money that you are giving your children in the name of you providing for them. So I don't know if you'll be able to strike a balance within the two, but life itself might not give you both. That's how I can answer you.
Anzina Mr. T, vabereki vanotsurika here. Iwe. Hakuna kutsurika, hakuna, because zvezvo zvakutonzi vana vemazuva ano muri kuvanzwa here. And also, unomutsura sei mubereki iye ndiye maybe ndiye ari kutotanga zvemadrugs zvacho. Unomutsura sei mubereki maybe iye is a drunkard pamba. Unomutsura sei mubereki maybe iye ndiye ari kutorana mastreets achizodzoka pamba. Do you know also there are some families where kutoti vana chaivo ndivatone common sense than the parents. So I don't know what mubereki anotsurike.
Adding on to that, vabereki, yes, it's very hard. I have my mother, she's a single mother. She kind of had a breakdown after divorcing with my dad, and she is more depressed than I am, and she also take her anger on us as kids, and we are also suffering from the same situation that our parents are separated, and she will be taking it on us, and the tension is too much, and the parents now haven't healed. Now it's affecting us the more. So as parents, I think they should maybe go to therapy and just sort themselves out, because they will be involving us the more, and we are at great danger because we are still young and we are naive.
Yeah, ningirikini, hey, vabereki kutsurika ya vanonesa, because vabereki vane mind yekuti mwana akandiudza zvakadai andijairira. But inini ndinoti ningirikini ndozviri kukonzera kuseparatana kwemafamilies nezvemadrugs, kuti vana anopedzisira akuenda kwaanoona kuti uku ndoappreciatwa nekugamuchirwa advice yandinopa inini. Saka vabereki ngative that time yekuti tinoteererawo vana kuti ari kuti chii, because uri mubereki but hazirewi kuti mwana akakudza advice, hazirewi kuti akujairira. Aiwa haana kukujairira but aringotaura kuti aiwa no mama, aiwa tadaiso baba tadaiso. Ngatisabva tati aiwa uri kundijairira zvatozvibhagira. No, ngative netime yekuteererawo mwana kuti ari kuti chii, about my behavior, about my parenting yandiri kuita kwaari. I think this is what I think.
Okay, just trying to add on what Simba was saying. The absence of a parent in a child's life is the presence of something. So you may give us money because you're trying to make us live a better life, you're trying to provide for us, but the gap that you're living, no one is able to fill it up. So you see, we may not copy from you, but we may copy from the people that are around us in your absence. So at times, I think as parents, you're supposed to give us maybe a guardian that you can live with us as you are going to do your hustles and your daily deals. Because you see, the gap that we are seeing today, right? Even the fears that the parents are having today because of what they are seeing. I believe a child is taught from the age of 0 to 15. From 16, they are now supposed to apply what they have learned, because there's even the law of the country states that they are at a stage of understanding things. A child can be trusted with a car at the age of 16, right? So I think parents are supposed to play their role from 0 to 15, so that when we get to 16, we are able to do right decisions and informed decisions, because we have been taught well growing up.
I think that was quite strong, hey, as it came in. From what Fortune said, I just want to say, before I think we move on to the next question, what do they say, Tatenda? Train up a child
the way that he should grow.
And when he's grown,
old, he'll never depart from it.
Exactly. I think parents, it's really important that we input skills and lessons in children while they're still young and malleable. Brighton, you've nailed it from what I think. Your absence means the presence of something exactly when you get out of a child's life. Which brings us to the next question that we have, which I want to bring back to us here as the youth. Is it not a fact that between the ages of 16 and 30, this is when us youth are looking for the most independence and are very, very resistant to parental input in us? Isn't this independence here that we are looking for one of the things that are getting us into this mess? And to kick this one here off, I'm just going to, Simba, what's your take on that?
Thank you, Mr. T. I'll look at it this way, to say the first thing is to describe what independence is. Because I think from that age what you're talking about, people, they think they want to be independent, but they don't know what independence is and what it then carries out to produce as a result of it. What it will take away from you, what it will require from you. So a lot of people, they think independence is just going out there, doing those things, like my sister was saying, they now want to go out and experiment those things. If it is having sex, if it is sleeping out, if it is going to my clubs, if it is smoking weed or any other illegal drug that is out there, they want to have an experience of those things. I'll give you a scenario about freedom. There's a person that I know, right? He took his children away, Pamba. The other one, Atokura, maybe 26, the other one is around 22. And this is a faith-based family. And then Wakatora one day, Manero, after Sunday service, and they went out and they went to a club, a Wagaram club. And the father then bought 2 bottles of Doro, ovakagara pasi zvikanzi guys ndandoyanatenga ita nditi imi choose yamuri kuda niti mabhiya zibva atenga bva agadzikwa zvikanzi you are now grown, I will respect your decision as young adults. Izvi zvasi kuzosvika kuumba kana kuti maita sei, I want you guys to make a decision on what you want to do. Doro hiri inwai. The other one didn't touch it. The other one took it vatest vramshatira. And after that they started discussing the issue vakuzokera kumba, and up to date ndivo vakomana ndo vakakutondudzeni kuti zvataketwa namudhara pateni chichichichi, and they were now explaining kuti that thing, I don't know why people are interested in that, it's very awful. Independence has been produced by the father or presented to them by the father, this is what you can do, and they made a conscious decision to say I'm not going to do this based on my own personal decision. So I'll look at it this way, my brother, to say it's a choice of knowing what independence is and trying to not to run away from the responsibilities and things that the father would have said don't do. I don't think it's the best strategy of saying don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But there's a better way of applying the same independence, giving it to them and managing it and seeing how they respond to it. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're having a lot of cases nowadays where kids, they're into drugs, substance abuse, they are now running into early marriages, doing all sorts of things. Why? Because they are trying to free themselves from what they think is the bondage of the parents. That's my take.
And I think I would do the same. I think I would do the same. Seriously, I think I would take my kids to a place togara pasi tichiona zviitika panzvimbo and to discuss about it. At least I want to discuss now, you know, from the discussion don't go on what I say. From the discussion, I don't know how they're gonna take it, but that you can moment can choose to do it. It's very important, and I feel kakueda something than kuti hanzi hakuna zvanambotara zvekuti parent hasi flexible kuti mwana akwanise kuva himself, you know. Mazuva ano anditi vana vakudressa, you know, whatever they feel like, chichi muna kutobuda neka crop top mudhara atomboti aiwa kana kuti sei I don't know kuti zvinobuda here zvandautaura ndiri kusvika kuti zvinogona kuti it will lash back at me, but munhu ngaaite mistakes. Yeah, no, serious. Munhu ngaaite, okay, all right, fine. Let me give you an example. It's my personal. My dad, when did you na Miss Roosevelt, Miss Harare Junior, Miss G, let's start on this weekend. Did you when did enda ndaitopiwa ndine mari yekunotenga ticket enda ikoko for exposure. Ndaendeswa kunoenda ku Miss Harare kwekwe, but when did be home na 6. Inini now it's up to me. Did when did be home ndapiwa mari kunzi enda or mozotenga ma drinks enyu, be home by 6. Now it's up to me panaenda ku Miss Harare. Ndichanoti my boys anoti my girls angu auya ndakurohera akaona kuti ase kana kuti ndicha feel kuti no did vangu vandi trusta kuti mwanangu enda, go and have that exposure, go and see these people, go and support the girl child, go and do what. So I don't know, that freedom to make mistakes, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I want us to go back to our issue here. We're talking about drugs and Minjura Mam Chipa touched about independence and what. And I'm thinking back to when I was in high school, and after that, if my parents ever told me, sat me down and said, do this, do that, honestly, I want to be very honest, I would never even take the time to listen, because at that stage, my parents are what we are experiencing and all of those things, right? And so then when it comes to drugs, it's also we are saying parents are playing a role in how, kids are then engaging, youths are engaging in these behaviors, right? But what exactly is the role there? Because one of the everything by the book, and still someone can end up in drugs and substances. And so where is that relationship? Toto, I would like you to start off on this one.
All right. when it comes to me, I place a lot of the blame about how I then became addicted to drugs. A lot of it and less of it and a lot of it on my parents, right? I believe, number one, while I was still in the house of my parents, we're an African society. There's people that say, hey, you've got rights, don't do this, don't do that. But they had the right. I was scared of him enough. Even now, I'm still scared of my dad for him to just hold me and say, Toto, Urwita say. Right? My father saw me not attending class. I was absent. He was also absent. He was not there to check on me. I was very malleable at the time. If I reflect on the last show, I think Brighton mentioned something like Chinorovesa ngachirovese, right? At that point, if my dad had beaten me up and stopped me from what I was doing, I might not have gotten into it. At that time, again, if my dad had been more getting into my bedroom and just checking what's going on in my bedroom, these are tips I believe I'm giving as well. He was going to see that bottle of Amarula behind my bed if he had checked at that time. At that time, if my dad had taken more effort to check on who my friends were and what I was doing, he might have picked it up. Because there is something that happens when you take drugs, which is to totally change your behavior. You can't avoid how they change how you behave. And many times we see things and then we ignore things. So there is a lot that he could have done. And then there is another point also which I want to then open up to the discussion at what Papa did. I mentioned him a lot because we trained together, and when he discovered that I was growing 13 plants of mbanje in my bedroom. Alas, he then came into my bedroom one day and he saw I was growing 13 plants of mbanje. At that point, Tatenda, he sent me away from home. Papa vakandidzinga kumba. Vandidzinga kumba kudaro ndakabva ndaenda kumba kwa Sekuru in Highfields, where I got exposed to worse drugs. Papa vakaita zvakanaka here kundidzinga pamba at that point. I need to open this one up and just also see and probe what parents need to and need not to be doing. Was Papa correct in doing that? For you, you're the parent who is at the corner. I'll pose this one here to you.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, there's this thing with our kids nowadays. You said lots of points. There's a time whereby you were saying that my father was not checking up on me, he was not getting in my room, he was not doing this. We have kids out there. If I start doing those things to my kids, I come into your room, I check on what you are doing, I follow you. You turn on us and then you'll be like, you know, my mom, she likes batting in my things. My mom is always on my case. My mom is always on my neck. You kids, you don't want that. You don't want that. You need to be like, you know, I need my space. I need my free time. I don't want to have a mother who is always mothering me. So as a parent, what am I supposed to do? Like for me, I'm a single parent now, I'm left. And then you are saying that to me as a son. You don't want me to be always there. You don't want me to know what is happening to you. What am I supposed to do as a parent now? I'm at loggerheads with you. What should I do? I'm posing this to you guys. What should I do as a parent now if you say that to me?
Okay, I think I have a bit on from Tatenda what she said. The first problem is wanting the parents to do, or parents doing things by the book. That's a wrong concept according to me, because children, they differ. There's no one template that a parent should use to say, kwenyu magaita say, shakashanda reganchanso kwangu, because kids are different. So you need to model your pattern according to how your kid is and how you want your kid to go. And coming to Mr. T, baba mbanje dzidzaiputhwa nemi koja namdara wako. So the first responsibility is on you. And mind you, you were at a university level. Mangamakura baba. I would take away majority of the blame that you shifted from yourself, blaming your father and his absence or whosoever was there. I will put it back to you to say, my brother, you knew this thing was bad from day one, but you thought you were a gangster and you thought you could handle it and you thought you could manage it, and it will work well with you, but it didn't happen so. And as a result, you took the blame and said, no, who was not here? This old man was not here. You are to blame. That's wrong. That's wrong, because at the end of the day, remember what she was saying. The father probably was out there because I would love to believe that he was not out there because he was being promiscuous and doing other things, or he left you, abandoned you, possibly had gone out to fend for you guys. And in the interim, you paid him back by being mischievous. So the blame, I would take it back to say, man, be responsible, right? Like Bright had said, rightfully said, Kuti, by the age of 16, you are entrusted with a certain level of responsibility of managing a vehicle. And according to driving, they say you are responsible for the car in front of you, beside you, at the back, beside, and beside. So you're responsible enough to handle a vehicle to an extent where drugs, you should know it, because it affects you personally, not your father. Your father, it affects indirectly, but directly it is you. So I'll put back the blame on you and say, no, let's look at it in a different way to say, these young kids, the ones, the adolescents that are taking the drugs, they know the dangers of drugs, but they want to be gangster. They want to do it better, to say, can I now do it better? Coming to you, my sister, the issue that you was talking about, to say, so what should I do, right? Because the kids nowadays, they don't want you to enter their rooms. You need to be a mother. You need to step up and to be a parent. Because that house that she's living in is your house. Unless if you want this whole Western culture to come in, look at the way they are also living there. It's not pleasing. Because of this westernization of saying, she said, don't enter my room or whatever, right? Be a mother. It might not be pleasing. And trust me, I don't think it will be pleasing. And I don't think they will be happy. But you are doing the right thing, that you know this will not affect. Because at the end of the day, you are the same parent who's going to be crying when she starts to do drugs. You are the same father who's going to take away your own son. Now you are back. But you're now sending your own son to your grandfather because you've realized a certain number of weed packs or weed plants in the house, right? So I'm just saying, I won't say man up, but I'll just say gear up as a parent, as a mother. I know you're saying that you are the only parent that is around, but you need to stand firm. You need to provide, like Brett was saying, you need to provide a guardian that is a male figure. Either Sekuru or Bamnini, someone that you trust and you could are morally upright and they can give proper advice and they can act as a role model to those kids. Because if they don't have that, I trust you me, it will just end up in talking terms. But the result will always be the same.
Yeah, dinoti vanga vari right. Because why? Because vari kukushowa pamwe maybe vakakuedza kukutsura kakawanda, maybe usinganzwisisi. Vari kuedza kukuratidza kuti no, zvemadrugs zvauri kuita izvi handizvide mumba mangu. Saka so iwewe wadzingwa pamba. Now it's your responsibility now yekuti now inini regai ndichinoita se ndichinodzokera kumba kuna mudhara ndichinokumbira ruregerero ndichinoratidza kuti no, ndaita se ndachinja, kana kuti baba, how can I change? Anditi saka vanga vari right kukudzinga mumba, kukuratidza kuti no, inini handizvidi. Because vakangokusiya vachingoti aiwa usaite zvemadrugs, and then the next day waita, usaite zvemadrugs, next day waita. And then another thing changa chataurwa nasisi vangu ava chekuti vana vemazuva ano ndikakucheka every time yori kuti waupesera wakuti vabereki vemazuva ano mama vanobhowa ningirikiti. Tikararama tichidaro, it means now takutotongwa nevana, takuraramira kutongwa nevana. Saka now iwewe sezvataura naSimba kuti no, it's your house. Anditi muratidze mwana kuti no, inini it's my what, it's my house, but at the same mudzidzise kuti no, izvi handizvide. Madrugs aya ari kutsvagei mumba, handimade mumba mangu. Anditi but tikangomusiya tichiti nekuti anozondiblame achinditi handizvide, mama vanobhoa vanongouya mubedroom mangu every time. Now it means takutongwa nevana. it means ndo panozouya nyaya yekuti now the family will fall. Now your family will fall. Mwana angoita zvemadrugs, mwana angoita inini. Saka
okay, despite kuti Mr. T, despite kuti joni my youth my young adults kumwe kwacho kuzviitisa but pakuzodzingwa kana kuti pakudzinga mwana just because atora madrugs, I don't think it's the way to go. Uda kurasirani wauda kurasirira manje apa ndiani kuti mwana wako ariwa madrugs amuroad akubira vanhu akwa violent, wauda kurasira ndiani? Take your problem and fix it. Ndiwe mubereki, hadisi kuti wakukublema kuti hanzi wanga usipo, you're not available, you're not providing this, you're doing that. Tora problem yako. If it's going to rehab, mwana ngaendeswe ku rehab. If it's kuendeswa kumusha unonotiswa kana attachment yokuti do this project it has so zviri nani, but kuzodzinga mwana wauri kuda kuti atore problem yoyo ndiani?
Can I say something on that? What they do in Botswana, when kids are having this problem of drugs, if a kid is being very naughty, is taking drugs, I've tried to speak to my kid, he's telling me that no, mama is like this, is like this. What they do in Botswana, when they've seen that now what the problem was, we take you to what we call kosi. Kuna vana mambo variko. Vana mambo ivavo zvavanoita. You go and present your problem. You tell them that ndine mwana wangu aneta, he's taking drugs, it's like this, it's like this, and it has been this course of a period. So what those people do, anotora mwana, they are just there. When they take your kid, ivavo vanorova vana zvisingaiti. That's what they do. Yes. And vanorova to the extent yokuti, you're not saying that I'm going to take my kid to rehab, I'm going to do this. No, you're not going to waste resources. We are going to beat you until you listen, until those drugs, they come out of you.
Yeah, it's a powerful discussion. So it's very unfortunate that we are living in a world where there is no template for parenting. People, they are living a life without really looking at the future. We are living in the now. We are focusing in the present. So I think, wow. Okay. I think to respond to your first question, there's nothing like freedom or independence to children in a home setup. If you see a child seeking independence or that freedom, it means there is a gap. I choose to take the old ways where everything was shared. A parent and a child, there shouldn't be a boundary, irregardless of your presence or absence. When you are present or absent, I am supposed to feel it physically, but as long as we have a connection between us, I can still communicate with you wherever you are. So I see this thing of wanting independence, my room, my space, it's a sign that there is a gap. There's no point for me to ask for space where I have nothing to hide. Yep. So I think for parents, it's a red flag. Yep. If you see your child asking for space, they have something to hide. Sure. That's true. Then coming back to the father thing, like Simba had said, I think it is more on us, the youth. In as much as in some instances parents are letting us down, but it's mainly on us, the youth. We have the decision to make. Because these things, when we see them, it is us who admire them. It is us who envy those guys who are doing it. And it is us who are falling into it, not our parents. So, just in conclusion, I think parents, their part can be played, but it is on us. And also, I think we should adopt that old culture of your child is my child. Because if you are working with that, we won't be having most of these problems. Because if you treat that child like your child, I'm sure I won't be having much of these problems. I think that's my contribution.
Well, responsibility. I, as a youth, I have a responsibility of my well-being, with the help of the guidelines that I'm given by my parents, and that will be monitoring me, maturing me to be an independent person with a matured mind and a mindset that is full of maturity. Ubuntu. That's where it's coming from. So parents have a role to play by being our best friends, bonding. That the bonding must be so extreme that we'll be so much like best friends with our parents, sharing everything, literally everything, and there'll be no boundaries. And that's what I think.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, was Papa right in sending me away? When I look at it now, in retrospect, I say yes. Because that's what got me to then go back. Right? And as Simba has said, you can say a lot that you can say, but the onus was upon me. Youth, it is upon us. At the end of the day, I was killing myself. Yeah. Right? And everybody that I was buying from, there's a sad reality that's there. There's a golden rule in taking drugs. You don't get drunk on your own supply. Everybody I was buying from was not touching these poisons. Youth, it is up to you to be woke. Right? It is up to you to not do that. Yes, parents, this is a call, a clarion call to say, let's be more involved in the lives of our child, of our children. But youth, let us help parents to also help us so that we can help the whole community. Bright, you spoke about communal parents. That is a very important thing. We've got parents these days that if one parent is going to discipline a child, but as youth, we also need to be in that position to accept the discipline that comes from a parent that is not yours. If we return to Ubuntu, like what Chantal has said, I think we have got a better chance at fighting this drug menace. Yeah. I'm very proud to say I am now working with Papa. We travel a lot and we help people see what we did and avoid that. Be more involved in your children's lives. Youth, let us not take parents' reprimand and direction as a violation of our independence. Like you have rightfully said, Simba, what is there to hide or to seek independence from if everything is all right? Back to you, Tatenda.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your contributions and, everything that you have shared. I think one thing about this show, like we said, pulling the plug is to rewire your destiny, right? So the whole idea here is not to say we're blaming anyone or we're saying this person should be doing this and that, right? But we are here to come up with solutions for each and every one of us to be able to fight, the drug menace, like you rightfully said. And obviously from Toto's story as well, I think we also see that regardless of whatever situation you may be in as a parent at the present moment, for as long as you have life in your lungs, there is still hope for you to correct your wrongs. If you are doing something, from these discussions, there may be something that you picked up. There's still hope for you to correct that. There's still hope for children as well. Children, youth, whoever it is who is involved in this, to come back and get recovery and healing. And so thank you so much, guys, for your insightful discussions. Maybe just before we close off, to the parents who are watching this, from these discussions, do you think that you are too busy for your kids? Do you think it should be tough love? Have we dropped the ball when it comes to parenting? Or is it our kids that are just making it difficult for us to be able to be parents who actually execute their duties responsibly? But anyway, regardless of that, thank you so much for joining us. Join us again in our next episode. And if you do have any comments that you have that you'd like to share with the team, please do get in touch with the number that's appearing on your screen right now. Until next time.